This episode of the Esoteric Order of Roleplayers is brought to you in part by the generosity of our backers on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/esotericrp to find out how you can become a backer too. This episode of the Esoteric Order of Roleplayers is brought to you in part by the generosity of our backers on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/esotericrp to find out how you can become a backer too. Hello, listeners, and welcome to the first of a new series, the Esoteric Short Order. This is a bit of an experiment for us. Once a month, we will run a convention-length, one-shot scenario, then present it in a series of hour-long episodes over the remainder of the month. We are doing this for those of you who prefer your actual plays to come in bite-sized installments, and also so that we can play a wider variety of games. This month, we're playing Rusted Veins, the Vampire 5th Edition Alpha Playtest scenario. For our first episode, we go over the mechanics of the game, the setting, and the characters. Enjoy!
Yeah.
Hi.
So, here we go.
Yes.
I have assigned you all characters,
Oh.
because that's what I
No,
do.
personally, we got personal assignation. Oh!
How wonderful.
I thought about all of you as players, and I thought, who do I want to play
How
what?
horrible we all
And I
are.
thought, oh my god, there's no way in
I am
hell.
too!
Alright, so this is,
This is wonderful.
Just thought about
so
me.
don't lift it up, don't turn it over until
This
you...
is my dossier?
That's yours. Don't
Ooh.
turn it over until I say...
It's a test packet. Don't turn it over.
Turn it over
There
till
will be
time. Oh, bad.
Turn into a pillar of salt.
If you will.
I have my number 2 pencil.
Iowa basics. I didn't know there was so much thing here.
I'm gonna shuck the rules. Mechanical pencil all the way.
Woo!
Thank you, Tess. You've always been.
Yeah, she's been prepping the hell out of this stuff.
Alright,
No, I'm really
so
looking
now I
forward to it.
understand that like printer ink conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
So, 1, 2, 3, you can lift it over
Alright.
and start to check it out.
Ooh. Oh, shit.
Oh man.
Oh, this is awesome.
I should post this as a... do you have these in file form?
I do.
Whoa.
I should post
Chicago!
Oh my god.
Look at this.
This is fantastic.
I
So for the listener, okay, so I don't know if y'all listen, of course you all listen to me before talk about,
this.
or
This is the first
run,
time I'm ever hearing your voice. actually.
to run a Vampire Chronicle. I'm usually shuffling around with character portraits, and I'm just like, fuck that noise, because I cannot do that while I'm trying to run this.
Right.
So I decided to create a graphic with all of the characters, plus it's also serving like in a story kit type mode where you get to see characters and we're not going to necessarily be playing all of these.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will be able to play some of these, most of them are the characters you're going to see me play, and then the characters that you are playing.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
And I wouldn't necessarily do this if it wasn't a playtest, because we're on a short time constraint. Usually we have time, and like I think it's good to let players like pick who they think their character looks like, who they are, the feel. But I thought in this case we have to do a lot more shorthand.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it to be more immediate.
Increase the brightness here.
So yeah.
Yeah, for the sake of time.
Yeah, for the sake of time, I did that. So I want you have a very detailed backstory to each of your characters, and so I want to give you the time to read that. So you may want to pause while people are reading.
Okay. Can do.
So. No,
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. So no, this is not like the pre-alpha where you are legitimately fucked from the jump. You actually do have some agency here. If you look at your character sheets, you'll see that you're pretty well equipped to handle some things. So I just want to go over a couple little system stuff first, and then we can get into the nitty-gritty of it.
Sure.
So So for this particular edition of Vampire, difficulty means the number of successful dice required to succeed at a task, not the target number for the individual dice. So you always have to be rolling 6 or above to be successful. When I'm telling you that it's a difficulty 3, that means it's like
3 successes.
you need 3 successes to
Three sixes or better.
3 6s or better to do well. If you roll 1, it's like, if I say it's a difficulty 1, it means like, okay, you could easily do this. This is probably something you'll be able to do. Difficult, so easy is 1 success, standard is 2, moderate 3 to 4, challenging 5, hard 6, very hard 7 to 8 successes, and nearly impossible is 9 to 10 successes.
Yes.
Some rolls are opposed. If your roll includes no successes, your character failed. So we can define what that means. Let's see. And then you can spend, unlike other Vampire or World of Dark, Chronicles of Darkness or whatever, you can spend a point of willpower to re-roll any or all dice.
Oh.
Any roll, including Hunger and Frenzy.
Okay.
Yeah, if your roll includes any successes but fails by 1 success, you may opt to succeed at a cost. You succeeded in your attempt, but something went wrong. Okay, so that means we can suggest the cost. Well, you succeeded in your attempt, but...
And so that's why with willpower you can, it says any or all. So it's like if I rolled, 2 successes, and these are my fails, and I needed 3,
Reroll the fails.
I can just hold those 2 and then roll a fail.
When you roll a dice and you get a 0 on 2 normal dice, so not your hunger dice, which I'll get into in just a second, because you'll be rolling your hunger dice with your regular dice with every roll. A result of a 0 or like a 10 on 2 normal dice is a critical success. And any results on a 10, if you get a 10 on any of your hunger dice, it's a messy critical. Alright, so speaking of hunger, we are using... Actually, why don't we talk about humanity first, and then we'll get into hunger. So with humanity, your character begins with a humanity 7, so you should have humanity 7. At my discretion, a vampire loses 1 humanity point by engaging in a truly bestial and appalling act, heinous mass murder, just really bad stuff that you do, decisions that you make based on how you're treating mortals and stuff like that.
Okay.
Or if we embrace somebody, right?
It doesn't say that. We're not going to get that deep into it. So, so another thing that they're bringing, and I think this is from Vampire the Requiem. Each vampire begins with 3 touchstones, living humans who represent what you used to value in life. A touchstone might be a surviving human spouse, lover, or partner, a human child, a human you admired in life, someone you have come to recognize as a rare, decent person, even in your blood-rimmed eyes. A volunteer at the animal shelter, priest, nurse, schoolwork, social worker.
Okay.
So just someone that you held very dear as a mortal. Somebody who guards or symbolizes or protects the thing you value. That is your touchstone. So you may have some touchstones identified in your narratives, but maybe on your character sheets too. So there's some people there. So that's there. A touchstone is damaged when something bad happens to them, and usually something caused by the kindred at a remove, or even something stirred up by the vampire's actions. So we'll see if something happens to your touchstones while we're playing this.
I imagine I would get pretty upset if something should happen to my touchstone.
Humanity is what keeps the beast at bay. When your humanity drops, a frenzy becomes more likely.
Okay.
So getting into the hunger dice. Hunger is the beast at its very worst, a relentless, undeniable, and utterly unquenchable thirst for mortal blood. This conflict is represented by vampires having the unique trait of hunger. Salute. It's measured on a sliding scale. A vampire with a hunger of 0 is sated and satisfied, whereas a vampire with a hunger of 5 is ravenous. The higher the number, the more starved for blood the vampire becomes. The hungrier the vampire is, the harder it becomes to resist the influence of the blood, which is what you want.
Okay.
Default level of hunger is 1. This is the normal state of vampires at all times, where the thought of blood is appealing all the time, though you can resist it and go, yeah, whatever. It's fine.
So should we go ahead and fill ours into 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So hunger dice. Oh, okay. Hunger dice is a persistent problem for all vampires. It's something that you're always having to deal with. And so reflecting this in the game in the 5th edition, which again I slagged off at first, but now I love it. Hunger dice is part of your dice pool for skill rolls, including when using disciplines. Hunger dice otherwise function as regular dice, scoring successes on a 6 and above. Hunger dice are limited by your dice pool. If you are at a Hunger 5 and your dice pool is 4, you only roll 4 dice. On a roll including Hunger dice, if you roll a single 1 on your Hunger dice, your Hunger has distracted you momentarily, and you lose your next turn. If you roll 2 or more 1s on your Hunger dice, or 2 or more 1s on your Hunger dice, the gnawing hunger in your veins forces you to select a compulsion, which I have that list of compulsions.
Hey,
And there's, what?
this is excellent.
Yes.
So for our normal dice, we're looking for 6 or above. 10 is a critical. For our hunger dice, we're only affected if we roll 1s. Or if we roll
Yes.
criticals.
Yes.
Okay,
So like
we'll
if my
get 1s
dice
and
if my
10s
dice
on the
pool
critical,
is
or on the hunger dice.
Yes.
normally 6,
Yeah.
and I have 2 points of hunger, I simply take those out, put those in. They still function like normal dice. So I'm just going to roll them. Hey, look at that. Those were 2 successes on my hunger dice. Plus, wow, that's a really good roll.
Yeah.
That's 6 successes. So
Damn.
I know.
That's
Wasted.
a waste.
So-
I know.
it becomes
However,
part of the roll.
if I
Yes.
had rolled a
For
1
instance.
there on that, then that would be a 1 hunger dice means I'm temporarily distracted.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
If I had rolled, if both of those guys had come up 1s, then I'm dealing with the compulsion.
Yeah.
Within the
so
playing of-
compulsions are again 2 or more
Two
ones?
two
Yes.
1s or more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have to be on the hunger dice only.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright,
Yes.
alright, okay.
And like what David just said about the dice pool, so whatever your hunger is, like your 1, you're going to include that 1 red dice or whatever dice you've designated as your hunger dice in your roll in order to see how you're doing in terms of your hunger, because it is what
So-
drives you.
Those dice are always going to be informed by our hunger quantity, but then as you said, capped by how many we're rolling. So if we're at 3, we're rolling only 2 dice. We're only going to roll 2.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's never
right.
going to exceed the number of
No.
dice. Okay,
No.
gotcha.
But they'll always be included in your rolls no matter what.
Wow, so it could come to pass that you're rolling solely hunger dice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The only way to avoid consequences of a compulsion is to spend a point of composure, canceling all hunger dice, all hunger dice 1s, and allowing you to quash the unwanted impulse at least temporarily. And then I mentioned the messy criticals if you roll a 10 on your hunger dice, no matter what you're doing, because it will just strike you when you least suspect it.
I have 2 big points of composure, so.
Good job.
I have a walking 3.
Okay.
Likewise.
So compulsion is a behavioral urge a vampire must endure when she cannot or will not control her hunger. Again, each time a dice pool results in 2 1s on the hunger dice, the vampire must either expend a point of composure or suffer a compulsion. Just want to make sure that's clear. Okay, so moving on. Oh,
If I may. You gain a point of hunger every night.
yeah,
Oh no.
because you have to feed.
Okay.
Every time you heal 1 point of aggravated damage, you add 1 hunger. Other actions cause you to make a hunger roll. If the roll comes up 1 to 3, you gain 1 hunger. That would be make a hunger roll immediately after you do any of the following. Temporarily increase an attribute by 1 dot. Activate or use a discipline. Heal superficial damage. Or gain blush of life. So if I wanted to appear human, hey, that's all well and good, but I still have to roll a dice. Oops, I just gained a dot of hunger. Crap.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
Oh wait, that's called a hunger roll?
Hunger roll. Yeah, it's just a single die roll. 1 to 3, you gain a
So
point
it's
of hunger.
essentially like an additional sort of penalty roll
Exactly.
if you're not actually rolling.
You're vamping out. You're being a vamp.
Yeah.
And
Can
it might make you hungrier.
Can that die roll ever be reduced below 1?
No.
Well, because as long as I'm within Gary, Indiana, I roll 1 less die when making a hunger check.
Oh.
yeah,
neat.
because you have a
Yeah,
you have
I have
a flock. Right.
So do I never make hunger checks
no,
then?
no, you
Oh.
will be making them, but they're
But-
not going to be as dramatic for you.
Okay, so the hunger pool can increase beyond 1. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely.
Okay.
Because let's say something happens or you get delayed or you're not around people or something happens and then your hunger would increase.
Okay.
If you're not able to feed. Okay, are you?
Well,
Good.
and then feeding. Does feeding reduce our hunger?
Yes,
Good.
should.
Okay.
Hopefully.
I'd imagine so.
Oh, and you
really
business
fucked.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rules were very vague.
Oh, here we go. A vampire can drink a small, non-fatal amount of blood from a human.
Right.
This lowers your hunger by 1. The human is left with few ill effects. Probably feel a bit lethargic. If your hunger is 3 or above, you must spend a point of composure to feed in this manner
Right.
to avoid consuming more blood.
Right. Okay.
And you can drink a large quantity of blood that would harm the vessel. This lowers your hunger by 2.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great. So, and hopefully you are feeding and
One more thing.
oh,
If you
okay.
completely drain somebody, your hunger goes to 0.
Yeah.
That's the only way to get your hunger to 0.
But that would result in,
Killing them.
say, well, I was going to say reducing our humanity, though. That
Yes.
counts as an action. that
Absolutely
okay.
would. Yeah.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Potentially.
And so feeding hopefully will prevent you from being provoked to a frenzy, but that can happen. So anytime your hunger dice reach a total of 5, so if you have a hunger of 5, you must immediately make a hunger frenzy check. Even if it happens in the middle of a scene, it doesn't matter. Just I need to know if you reach that point.
Okay.
And it also applies every time you fail a hunger roll while already at hunger 5, unless you're already in a frenzy.
Alright. If you're checking for frenzy, you roll composure. Current composure. Ho 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 ho.
Oh, shit.
So if you spent all your composure, you frenzy automatically.
Right.
But let's just say I had 2 composure.
Yeah.
The target, this is a roll low. This is the only time you want to roll low. Target number is under your current humanity, which would be under 7. So again, I rolled. That time I got 2 successes.
Okay. So you're fine.
So I'm
Would those be hunger dice?
no, because it's a composure roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hunger
Great.
dice are only used when you're specifically being told to make a hunger roll.
A
Or when
hunger
you're adding them
roll,
to
or
the
when you're
Skills,
doing
disciplines.
a task or a
Yeah.
discipline.
So the majority of your rolls will involve hunger dice, but just not your composure roll. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we can always repeat and discuss this more as we go along.
Yep.
I'd like to use this time now to introduce your characters, and you can tell me about who they are and whatever you feel like sharing with the group.
Quick question before we
Yes.
start.
Yeah.
Are we playing modern? So
Yes. So it's October.
2017?
It's October 1st, 2017. We are in blowing your mind. It's Gary, Indiana.
It's the time now.
Yeah. And so just to make this clear, Rusted Veins, it's a tangential continuation from the first Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle that was created, forged in steel. It follows on Ashes to Ashes and Dust to Dust. Like Forged in Steel, Rusted Veins is set in the city of Gary, Indiana, a now dilapidated urban wasteland once at the heart of America's steel industry.
Yeah.
As with other cities in the Rust Belt of America, Gary suffered horribly from the 60s through to the present night. As industry moved away, nothing new came to the city to take its place. Unemployment and homeless figures grow year on year. The city has held the title of murder capital more than once. Illegal drug use is rife. Police corruption is endemic.
Yeah.
Gary is a shithole.
Yep.
But vampires are not exclusive to the glamour of LA and the glitz of Vegas. Some kindred make their havens in urban squalor by misfortune of their embrace, exile from more opulent domain, or willingly choosing such a den of vice as a hiding place. Certainly few Camarilla vampires choose to rummage through Gary to discover the target of a blood hunt. Knowing they're in Gary is punishment enough. The Camarilla nominally holds the city through the paper prince, Modius. His court is largely empty these nights, as true Camarilla kindred know better than to remain in Gary if they want to scale the sect's slippery hierarchy. Most vampires in Gary identify as anarchs, but even they are a dissolute group. Their head is a self-styled baron going by the epithet of juggler.
Right.
In recent years, he has assembled neonates beneath his banner, with talk of an advance on Chicago, Milwaukee, or Indianapolis.
Good luck.
The likelihood is
Yeah,
Juggler.
really.
The likelihood, you're onto him. The likelihood is Juggler just wants a private army to call his own. He's not leaving Gary. Nobody really leaves Gary. Juggler and Modius have engaged in their private war for decades, maybe centuries now. Sex matter less to these two than who has control of the domain one night to the next. So, let's see here. I gave you all character handouts for the scenario. Each of the scenario's protagonists has a personal agenda, even though this does not automatically make them opposed to each other.
Right.
So you are a coterie, which is a group, and so you are bound together in a way that we could figure out how or why. We'll get to that, but first I'd like you to review what you'd like to share with us. So the protagonists in the scenario all have suffered in some way. Yes, Jade. What?
I was just going to hear the name of our prince.
Modius is the prince.
Okay, cool.
He's the paper prince of Gary.
There we go.
And Juggler is a self-styled baron of the anarchs in Gary.
Just making sure.
He's a Brujah. So, Whether through the misfortune of birth in a city like Gary, long-term injury or addiction, or simply the embrace ruining an otherwise comfortable life, all the characters want more than their current lot. This is typical of anyone living in a poverty-stricken city, where just a city away opportunity abounds, discrimination is lighter or better concealed, and violent death is considerably less likely. So, the most mortals who live there have no means, material or otherwise, of escape. The same plight constricts each of our protagonists, whether through lack of financial resource or crippling fear of the Second Inquisition, or a lack of allies outside the city. Most kindred embraced in Gary remain in Gary. Travel is not a safe option. So, just wanted to let you know, we mentioned that Gary is an 85% African-American city, and unless explicitly described differently, all characters and NPCs are black. So let's talk about who you are. I will start with Jen.
Okay.
If you can describe what you want to share about this and ideas of maybe, just any ideas, anything that comes to mind.
Right. I am Sydney One Round Middleton. I'm 22. I am Gary's Ronda Rousey. I am prideful. That's my vice. My virtue is that I'm honest. I'm an amateur boxer with too much responsibility. I am headstrong, confident. And my older brother Zion is very important to me. He's involved in the drug trade. And I enjoy fighting. I'm interested in seeking other kindred to fight. I'm Clan Bruja. I'm fit. I'm really good at athletics and that type of thing. I'm really bad at technology. So that gives you an idea of who I am.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Shiv.
Jeremiah Padre Patterson, street preacher, but very, I guess, hypocritical, racked with self-doubt. So, sort of kicked out of the official churches after he, robbed the parishioners a little bit and stole copper wires out of the walls. So,
Just a little bit.
yeah.
You gotta make do.
Once the city dropped into poverty and the workforce became like homeless and drug addicts, he became a street preacher and gathered a significant flock. He is very generous, but he is a masochist. And he has the most affinity in the coterie with Private Jordan Lynch and Mallard Ellery.
Okay. Anything else you want to share, or? Because we'll learn more as we go on, I'm sure.
Did I say he was in World War II?
No.
He's a World War II veteran.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Very good.
pretty sure.
All right. That's all you want to share?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Jade.
How ominous.
Yeah.
Really, that's
Really?
all you're sharing.
He's got 3 points of animism? I don't know.
Well, your clan or your...
Oh, he's a Nosferatu. You'd notice that immediately upon seeing the fact that he doesn't have a nose.
Yeah, but he uses a mask, too, as Nosferatu are wont to do.
That is true.
All right. To move around. Segue to Jade.
I'm Maylord. I am a cop. I have a reputation in town, and everybody knows not to fuck with me. Conversely, if you need the best feeding spots in town, I can hook you up. Similarly, I have a mask, but I prefer to keep myself hidden. I'm also Nosferatu, so you guys know essentially what I want you to think I look like. You know what I look like at home. Let's see, my virtue is just, my vice is disloyal. Definitely have a reputation as a dirty cop, and have no shame about that.
Wow.
And yeah, I seem to have some history with Zion as well.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
dealt with him in the past before I was embraced. And also with Padre over there. So, yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank you. And David.
I am playing Zion Middleton, elder brother of Sydney. I want everyone to call me Snowman, but nobody does.
Says it all.
However, in spite of that, I am very ambitious and am kind of a low-level, drug kingpin, I guess, how I might style myself. I have connections with the Camarilla, so that would be Modius. In fact, I'm kind of known as Modius's lapdog.
Oh.
Oh. Yep, it's true.
Story checks out. I was embraced before Sydney.
Wow, so your siblings and you're both kindred.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
It is. It is unfortunate that happened to her, but that's her fault for coming back to Gary, as far as I'm concerned. And, yeah, I am ambitious. That's all I'll say.
Anything else you want to share?
Well, I think I am I'm going to be pulling everyone together, apparently.
Okay.
But we'll get into that.
All right,
We'll get
yeah.
into that.
So coterie, you have you are all connected in some way together. So there's a couple different options. You can be something called the Prince's Hounds. This coterie exists because Modius ordered its creation. He considers you as deniable, expendable trained beasts.
Nice guy.
Turf lords.
I love how the Camarilla is getting painted in the 5th edition. Just total assholes.
Yeah. Turf lords. Your coterie exists to protect your hunting grounds or something else there from other vampires. Allied sires. Your coterie exists because all your sires are allied for some complex reason of higher vampiric politics. This alliance has been fairly stable even with the rise of the Second Inquisition and the Anarch revolts. So that's one thing. And then the last one is that you're an Anarch cell. Your coterie exists because you're an Anarch cell, possibly inactive or sleeping. You may not have openly rebelled yet, or you may be declared in a shatter zone like Gary. Even openly proclaiming Anarch tendencies doesn't disqualify you from Modius's presence or remove you from the city's vampiric ecology. In fact, you likely prefer Modius to whoever Chicago would put in charge as prince following his overthrow.
Oh, Lord. There's worse than Modius.
Apparently. So, what do you all think?
I don't like it.
What the? So we have the Prince's Hounds, Turf Lords, Allied Sires, or Anarch Cell.
I like turf lords.
Turf Lords jumped out at me,
Turf
too.
Lords?
I mean, sure.
We all seem
Yeah.
to be sort of like, or most of us, with the exception of Jen, seems to be sort of like the heads of certain, or not necessarily heads, but like representatives in certain societal matters. So, you've got like the drugs, you have the police and the homeless. So
And there's a reason I came back. Maybe it's related to whatever this thing is we're protecting.
Possibly, yeah. So you want to think about right now. You have a turf that you are protecting. +2 to all tests to hunt on your home turf. +1 to test to detect, investigate, or discover strangers, strangers or outsiders on your home turf. -2 to all tests to hunt outside your home turf. -1 to other tests in which your outsider status on another's turf may be disadvantageous.
Okay.
Now, you may spend 3 willpower either individually or from more than one player to establish a supernatural or vampiric fact about it if you want.
Whoa.
Now, you also may spend 1 willpower to establish a mundane fact about your home turf, an abandoned building, a sewer entrance, a specific NPC, etc. So,
This is in game.
this is in game.
So I might say, like, I'm spending 1 willpower. Hey, everyone, we're going to go to the abandoned factory where we have that bolt hole in the basement or whatever, right? It would be like that.
So it's like spontaneous creation. We are so familiar with our territory that the things that we need might be conscious of.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, and Maylord, since you mentioned, like, you know where to go. I mean, you're a cop, so you may have had shifts on different areas
yeah.
of Gary.
Yeah, it says that I've been in 3 different precincts in
Okay.
Gary. And
Wow,
so I was
okay.
actually going to ask if that might negate my -1 dice for, like, the outsider rolls.
Possibly, yeah.
In some places.
Depending
It
on the
sounds
place,
like-
yeah.
At least it made it sound like I know how to find things better than most everybody.
Absolutely, which
Yeah.
is really important. Like, but if you were to go to Miller Beach, which is like a really more high, like
Sure.
that's where Modius lives.
Yeah.
If you were in Miller Beach, you'd be like, what are you doing here?
So for things of like status,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, but say for navigation.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, you know the lay of the city very well.
All right.
Okay, so you're turf lords, and just keep in mind that you may spend 1 willpower to establish a mundane fact. and then 3 to establish a natural or vampiric fact about it if it gets to that point.
All right.
Okay. So do you all feel like you have a feel for your
I have a
character?
qualitative feel for the entire situation.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
And I look to you for the quantitative
Well,
minutia.
yes, I will be counting on both Davids to assist with that in addition to my own stuff. So,
Jen, I did have a question. Your character does boxing. Is it like street boxing or is it like
No.
actual bouts?
actual
Actual bouts.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
be drug tested and everything.
Dang.
The bout to knock the other guy out.
Yes.
Gal out.
Well,
Gal in this case.
All right.
I have a
So,
small fan following.
yeah.
well, then I take
Oh
back
wow!
what
So
I
you
said.
are the
like a
Ronda
Facebook fan
Rousey.
page?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Facebook page and everything.
Oh, so
Sure do.
you've got a cover? Like people
Yeah.
people don't know you're a vampire.
No, they don't know.
Well, I think you might have more influence than the rest of us.
In some situations,
There's
yeah.
some fame there, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's Gary centric.
Yeah, Gary. Yeah, and Gary. Yeah.
Fun historical anecdote
What?
that may be completely wrong.
No.
My favorite
But
kind.
I
No.
think the reason why Gary was the first location they chose for the very first vampire scenario was because that's where the idea was developed while they were driving to Gen Con. They were driving past Gary and they were looking at this urban wasteland. They're just like, man, can you imagine a bunch of vampires there? You know, and yeah.
Oh
The
my.
rest is
And
history.
the rest is history, so yeah.
Cool.
The rest is now recorded history, in fact.
Yes, indeed.
And I mean, I think also that, and then this edition is this revision is actually taking into account the actual demographics of Gary.
Yes, because when they wrote the original scenario in like 1989 or 90,
Oh, jeez.
they were like, you know, they didn't have the internet. They didn't know what the demographics of Gary were.
Right.
So, like, in the scenario, it's just a bunch of white people. Oops.
At least they fixed it.
They did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great, but
That's
they
all we
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
have updated it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's updated, exactly.
Exactly.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are
I'm
in.
scared
we are
already.
in these.
Yeah, I'm done.
We have.
I'm
I'm satisfied.
So we have this brother sister who are kindred, not the same clan.
Not the same
what
clan,
what clan
not
are you?
really on the same
Do you want to
page.
share that or no?
It's on the page. It's on the sheet.
Oh yeah, but
I'm
I'm just
Gangrel.
you're gangrel. Yeah, okay. So everybody's
Bruja.
cool.
Gangrel style.
We have our Nosferatu as well
That's
Yeah.
proud too.
I'm scared.
in the house. Okay.
So I'd be very afraid.
Yeah.
One last thing.
What?
Mechanically, do we want to just do a quick tour of our disciplines so just so we know what we all are capable of? So
Oh,
that we can
absolutely.
do
Yes. Okay.
X-Men team up style.
Sure,
of
sure,
power.
sure, sure, sure.
So I have 2 dots in Fortitude and 2 dots in Protean. So that means I can
You got this.
not just take a licking and keep on ticking.
But you can look back.
I can lick back.
Oh.
I can give out the lickings.
Oh my god.
I'm known for my licking.
Okay. We get it.
No, actually, my preferred method.
And we're done.
My preferred method of hunting is to get one of my more decrepit customers high on something and then hunt him and drink his blood.
Yeah. Talk about that.
Because when they have drugs in their blood
Yeah.
system, it affects the vampire. The vampire gets a hit.
It passes it along.
Yeah, I can't have that.
No. Yeah, I wasn't much of a user before my embrace, but now I'm kind of into it. So Fortitude, I have Endurance.
You was a pusher before.
I was a pusher man.
Oh man.
So I have Endurance, which is let's see, I do not suffer a pool penalty for being impaired, and I have Metal, which I can make a hunger roll to activate Metal for one scene. I think, Dave, that's what it's talking about with losing a dice off your hunger roll. It's when you're rolling your hunger
Yeah.
as a pool, I guess. So I can convert aggravated damage, which is pretty cool. And then Protean, I've got 2 dots, which means I have Eyes of the Beast.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
My eyes glow soft feral red, and I can see perfectly even in pitch darkness.
Which is important because Gary has no lights.
Right.
That's
I'll
true.
get
They've
into
all
that. I'll
been
get into
looted.
that. I'll get into
Super
that.
useful.
Okay.
And then I have feral claws or feral flaws.
Wrong.
Narf.
Anyway,
Yeah,
which
it's
is the
nerfy.
classic Gangrel Wolverine move of
Love it.
pop my claws. And ew, if your claws break, you can regrow them by reactivating this power.
That's cool. It's not gross, right?
Well, I'm just picturing it happening, you know, like just ripping off
Hell
somebody's
yeah.
skin.
He's
That's
freaking
gross
out.
and amazing.
It's gross and amazing. All right.
May Lord.
Okay. So I have a 3 in obfuscate.
Obviously.
Nice.
Which means that I can not only make my face look like whomever I want, I can also change my clothes to make it look like I'm wearing a uniform or
Terminator
taking on the
2
appearance
style.
of an actual person.
Basically.
And also I can change the sound of my voice.
Wow.
Nice.
To sound like my target.
That's cool. Nice.
And then I also have 1 in potence, which means that if I take critical damage, or if critical damage is done to me, I knock it down to a normal.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Staying power.
You can also melt into shadows and basically move about unseen.
yes.
Sweet.
Super stealtho.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff though.
Padre.
I have 3 dots in animalism and 1 in obfuscate.
So you
Wow.
can melt
So-
into the shadows.
I get cloak of shadows actually.
Cloak
so
of shadows, yeah.
Essentially,
You dawn the shadows.
if I'm standing still in a corner and the corner's dark and I don't move, if you don't have auspex or if you're not staring at me, you can't see me.
So like normal.
Night vision.
How is that different from normal standing in the dark shadow?
I have no idea, but apparently it's
more
better. It's activated by a
You are
hunger
of the
rule,
shadows,
so
all
It's
right.
more nuanced. It really like
yeah,
It's a textural.
Yeah.
It is. All right. Fair
it's
enough.
active camouflage,
Yes.
but I can't
Okay.
move while I'm using it.
Ultimately, we could know what he does in the shadows.
Oh, brother.
You know,
If you have
what?
auspex, you could
Yes, keep talking, please. Keep talking.
So for my animalism, I have feral whispers, which means I can talk to feral animals, I think.
What animals do you have to identify a specific animal? Or?
I think it's predators.
Oh.
Let's see. It's
So coyotes and
Yeah,
rats.
exactly.
Rats.
animals recognize me as a fellow predator and react with suspicion and fear. I can communicate and command animals by murmuring to them in growls and using body language. I'm thinking probably like stray dogs.
Yeah.
In Gary is
Feral
probably
cats?
like the most proper one. Maybe
Yeah.
rats.
Ooh,
Rats.
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 It
Yeah.
says the storyteller should respond from the
Bats.
point of view of a local animal that has been drawn by your howls, chirps, or other inquiring noises.
Ooh, chirps.
Chirps. Owls. Owls.
Yeah.
Owl exterminated.
All right.
So I also have, for my second dot, I have subsume the spirit, which is essentially I send my consciousness into a feral animal and it walks around in a 10-mile radius.
I love
Yes!
that. I
to
love
myself, while my regular body becomes inert and comatose.
You're
and
a ward.
Yeah, incorporeal.
Cool.
that. Nice.
And last but not least, I have quell the beast, and beast is capitalized, so I'm guessing that's like the beast within us all.
Blood.
So
Yes.
I can cow a mortal's beast, which means that they can't use or regain willpower until the next day, I guess. And then I can also quell a vampire's beast. And if I do that, it snaps them out of frenzy.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
However,
that.
if I do that,
Such a preacherly.
Yes. Yes, it is.
yeah. However, if I do snap them out of, or if I do cow their beast, they have to spend 2 willpower instead of 1 to reroll.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
And then,
But I cannot quell my own beast.
all right. 1 round.
All right. I have 2 disciplines, celerity and potence.
Wow.
Okay. Good.
And I
We've got
don't
a
know
nice smear going.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, celerity. But it doesn't say like which of the celerities.
It's by your dots.
Dots.
So how
All
many
right, so
dots? do you
1.
have?
So
All
I
right, so
am
you just have-
capable of an incredibly fast response time.
Nice.
I make a hunger roll to activate my alacrity for the scene. My initiative will then double. I can use my dodge skill against firearms, even with no cover,
Oh wow.
without losing my next action. I don't suffer penalties when fighting multiple opponents. Also, I have potence, which I assume these are alphabetically.
Yeah, I think they are. I hope
Thank
so.
God.
I have potence level 3, which is a penetrating strike. My blows achieve remarkable concussion, smashing through protective gear and shattering mortal bones with a single strike.
That's exciting.
And you also have 1 and 2.
And I also have 1 and 2. 1 is prowess. I can attack with mighty force, overwhelming my enemies. And soaring leap. I can
Wow.
propel further than natural muscles will allow in flight-like leaps.
Okay.
Okay, and I also have rope-a-dope, which is...
Rope-a-dope?
Yeah, I have learned to distract my opponents in a fight and then dodge their blows.
Nice.
I gain 1 die to my dice pool when dodging a brawl attack.
Okay.
And calm heart. I have a great deal of control over my emotions and can maintain my calm even in outrageous situations. Once per scenario. So that would be this entire evening.
Yeah, there's 4 scenes, so you
Okay.
can do it
Per
with
scenario.
each. Yeah.
I can ignore a single one result of my hunger die.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Very cool.
That's very cool indeed.
Yeah, I have something here that would affect everyone. Merit Seasoned Traveler. When you are traveling, provided you are simply passing through, you can move through any area unmolested, automatically avoiding any patrols. Only parties who have been tipped off to your arrival, actively pursuing you, or have supernatural means of tracking may attempt to stop you. You may extend this bonus to anyone traveling with you, up to a number of people equal to your dots in the survival skill, passing through the wilderness, or streetwise if passing through an urban area. And I've got 5 dots in streetwise.
Wow! Whoa!
I can bring you all with me.
Awesome.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just good to be aware of each other's.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
everyone,
absolutely.
What is it? My merit on the take means that folks on both sides of the street may hear bad news and avoid getting into your business if they can. But I gain a die at any persuasion roll involving the police or gangs.
Okay.
I have the ear of the street, so I gain 2 dice to any investigation or streetwise rolls related to Gary or its inhabitants.
Ooh.
All right.
All right.
Nice.
Right. So you know this.
I
this
feel pretty
place.
confident.
I think we're going to own this town.
I think so.
We
All right.
She laughed. She laughed.
This is our turf.
Yes.
No one's gonna get in.
You
That's
know
right.
it very well, and that's the first step. No, you're not. So, so let's start.
All right.
Nights for the Kindred of Gary rarely involve the high-level politicking of a major Camarilla metropolis like Chicago. Vampire existence is subsistence living, draining vessels from one night to the next, hoping for the rare taste of exotic blood from a tourist or traveling businessman stepping into the wrong part of town, and craving a nugget of intriguing information from the world beyond. Feuds between Gary's kindred are often petty, but quickly resolved. But quickly escalate to bloodshed.
Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh, what a relief. No!
And then they're resolved.
Yeah, they're resolved.
at that point.
They're resolved through
Bloodshed.
Yeah.
When one party is dead, then it's resolved.
Resolved. Clearly. There's no one left to
One of
argue.
each party. One of each party is dead.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so
Wait a moment.
All right.
Talking about the laws of Verona, I see.
Yes, exactly. Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
My thumb at me.
The smallest of disagreements are settled with violent finality.
Oh my god.
Neonates using abandoned factories, houses, and mills as battlegrounds. Anarchs put enemies out to pasture in a hail of bullets before tearing away into the night. The greatest feud, in scope if not importance, exists between the long-standing rivals Modius and Juggler.
Yeah.
Modius is the Toreador Prince of Gary, and Prince is in quotes, though that title is debated. How can you be a prince with few subjects when few subjects fear you, fewer still respect you, and your domain is an urban ruin? That said, Modius is a power in his own right. He has age, experience, and despite his delusions, the resources and pull to make any troublesome fledgling disappear without much fuss.
Alright. I get it.
Juggler styles himself as the Anarch Baron, quote-unquote, of Gary, but his connections to the Chicago Anarchs is tempestuous at best. While Gary befits the Anarch style of law and order, there is none. Better than operating under Camarilla traditions, Gary's kindred see Juggler as too old, too self-serving, and too caught up in his grudge against Modius to care for Anarch interests. Beneath the Big Two, a rabble of anywhere between 10 and 20 kindred populate Gary. There may be more, but nobody's counting. Just like the kind of his domain, the lifespan of a kindred inhabitant depends entirely on which of the city districts a vampire frequents, the businesses they influence, and the friends and enemies they make. Of the kindred embraced since Gary's economic collapse, the number to survive or remain in Gary for longer than 5 years is in single digits.
Wow!
Of the protagonist coterie, you guys, only Padre has been a vampire for longer than a few decades. And you would know this because he's been around forever.
Yeah.
You probably remember seeing him before you were embraced, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Sure.
Oh, definitely.
Would he have like? Would you have a show on like late night local TV?
No. Street corners
Street
and
corner, storefronts.
closing down factories.
We have a report.
If
Yes.
there's ever violent riots, actually, you would mostly know me from when the Reverend Al Sharpton came to film me in my public activities. I told him to go fuck himself with his fat wallet.
Oh wow.
So
Nice.
Little. Yeah.
yeah, a little street notoriety there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well done.
Cred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight, your coterie is held together loosely through a mixture of ideals, family connections, desperation, and a realization that anyone who goes it alone in Gary ends up dead. Make their way to a drug deal in the dangerous industrial wasteland on the northern banks of the city. I read that wrong. Okay, you guys are making your way.
Skipped a few lines.
No, it's all the same sentence.
Oh my god.
That's weird.
You know what? Totally understand. I read some of this and I was like, what the?
Yeah. No, it's written very poorly.
Yeah.
I ran Hill
test,
Never
it's
Apartments.
okay.
I know how you feel.
All right, y'all. So what I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
you are making your way to a drug deal in the dangerous industrial wasteland of the northern banks of the city.
That's not our turf.
Is it?
I wouldn't be there.
Is it your
I
turf?
wouldn't be there.
I'm not sure. Doesn't specify for me?
The northern
No.
industrial.
It doesn't
Sure.
specify. If you want it to be your turf, you can. If not, it doesn't
Oh, I
have
was
to
just
be.
saying, does it specify what my current precinct is?
I don't
Kind
think
of
so.
an issue,
Yeah.
considering it's so important.
I don't think mine's really my territory specified.
No,
No.
it's pretty.
I'm
Yeah.
straight edge. I'm
General.
not interested. I'm not going to this.
I mean, if we're
But
making
you
our-
are. You
But
are.
I am.
But
Okay.
you are.
Very
Yeah.
well. I'll
Sorry.
be looking over snow.
part of the coterie.
Yeah.
Being a coder, it's like this is what we're doing tonight. So
I mean-
what we're doing tonight is picking up something from Odious.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If we're making our way there, I'm guessing that means it's not in our turf because we're actually having
That's
to travel.
kinda-
Good point.
Yeah.
Good
It's
point.
sort of
Okay.
implied with the
All right,
language.
we'll
We're
say that
leaving to
then.
go and do that.
Which
So
is
because
probably why
few
we're
of
all
you
back
handle
together.
drugs as a vocation, and Zion has his own crew of dealers.
This is true.
It's just under the instruction of Modius. So how would you get them to go with you on this mission to pick up something? Modius basically is saying that we're under stewardship of 30 G's worth of H tonight, and we're going to deal the H away for a couple bags full of cash, and then call Modius for further instruction. That's what you were told to do.
Okay.
So how do you convince them that you need them to?
Basically,
Come
I
with
think at our. Hold on a second.
Weekly coffee and pie night.
This is in Berlin.
Coffee in the church basement.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might spend a willpower point to
Sure.
create like a meeting place that we have, like
Okay.
a secure. What do you think?
There's some abandoned theaters. There's abandoned everything.
I was thinking abandoned bank actually.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
sounds good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
Vault door sort of like
There it is.
yeah, right
there.
there.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Vault door.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
nice.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
All right.
Yeah,
abandoned
that's
bank.
exactly it. Just trash strewn all over the floor.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just this. The vault is kind of our
Yeah.
meeting place.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way we can swing the door shut if some shit goes down.
Okay.
So
So Modius said that we want, you're gonna want your coterie to watch your back during
yeah.
this.
So I would have texted everyone, just said mandatory meeting at the vault tonight. Modius.
Right. You're basically gonna go inside
Hashtag
the.
Modius.
Right. You're gonna go inside a closed the end run automobile manufacturing plant. There's a bunch of Glen Park 45ers that are gonna be there. It's a local gang,
Okay.
and they're gonna drop off. They're gonna
30.
drop it off.
30
G's worth of heroin.
Yep. So this is just such a great handout. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is.
So to Sydney, I would say, I need you along as muscle.
Yep.
I need you to be the muscle, and I need my corpses.
Would you call them that?
Yeah, as the eyes and ears.
Would I be able to spend a willpower to sort of like establish that this is something that I've done before in trade for like probably some of the drugs to go to like I don't know, some dry shelters that, don't let people in with drugs, but can help like wean them down a little bit if they're having the shits.
Definitely. That's
phenomenal.
perfect.
That is
Okay.
phenomenal.
That's great.
I do it for cash money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll
Well,
get a
there
cut.
is.
You'll
You will get a cut of the deal.
As per our usual arrangement.
All right.
So. All right.
I'm looking for
because
a
I can
fight.
definitely help keep the cops, uninterested.
Yeah, you're good cover too. Yeah.
All right. So we're cutting to you. We're in the car with you, driving in the pouring rain. It is constantly raining in Gary.
At least it makes it smell a little better.
It doesn't though. It actually worse. Yeah.
It makes more mold.
It activates the urine.
It
Yeah.
actually is really
right.
a problem
Just a
and all.
greasy sheen over the sheets.
Right.
Over the streets. the,
The sheets of urine.
yeah.
The sheets of
Right. The rain.
The sewers start overflowing.
The
Yeah.
rain is constant, and it's smashing into the streets, and it's very difficult for your windshield wipers
Oh, yeah.
to
Greasy.
get rid of it.
Ooh.
Another thing for you to know is that the drug trade in Gary is far from healthy or burgeoning.
Really?
No major deals are made in the city as a rule, simply due to the lack of buyers.
Sure. Yeah.
But the city is used as a crossroads for larger deals
Okay.
to Chicago or out west.
Yeah.
The Enron plant that you're heading to fell into disuse in the late 80s and was simply fenced off by the city. And
Perfect.
there's a couple different gangs that are in control of this part of the city, but few make their way to the abandoned factories because it's not worth going into. The Glen Park 45ers are known, they're based in the south side of Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
They're dedicated to vandalism, armed robbery, carjacking, and drug dealing. So
Small timers.
Yeah, absolutely.
the gangs existed for several years and makes the broad Glen Park area an unsafe space for anyone not looking to go there for a deal.
Okay.
The real word on the street says that the Gary Police Department won't consider drug a crime priority. So,
Okay.
just in a couple, I want to expand a little bit more on your character so we know who you are. I'm going to give us all an opportunity to talk, maybe go through a little mini scene of who you are, talk about something with your relationships with other members of the coterie, discuss the way your characters prepare for this deal and thoughts and doubts about it going down. Also, if you want to feed, we can play through that really quickly too, so that your hunger is abated at least for a little while.
And there you have it. The pieces are on the board, and the first move has been made. Join us over the next 3 weeks as we find out what fate has in store for our plucky little coterie.